This is Brother Jamal coming to you. Once again, we communicate, educate, and organize, and truth is the wealth of freedom. Once again, we communicate, educate, and organize, and truth is the wealth of freedom. I want to bring you this little short video this morning, just in case to let you know about some things that are going on. Number one is that we said this yesterday, and I want to reemphasize it again. We now know that the young brother in Mississippi, Delta State, a Delta University, I guess in Mississippi, we now know that he was murdered. All the speculation about him hanging himself and committing suicide, all that was a lie. We now know that the whole system in Mississippi has been covering all this up. And let me tell you something what's even sickening about the situation in Mississippi. Most of the individuals that's involved in the cover up are black. And let me rephrase that. Most of the people that's involved in the cover up of his last name was Reed. I think his first name was Trey, 21 years old, black man, who was found hanging on the campus of Delta. That's all white college in Mississippi. A few black students, there's quite a few black students I think go to school there. But this young brother was found hanging from a tree. They tried to say that he committed suicide. We now know an independent autopsy has shown this brother was lynched, and also both his legs and his arm was broke. So that lets you know the condition. But like I said, the kicker in all this is those coons down there in Mississippi. I call them coons. I call them jigaboos. I call them Negroes, and that's not even that's a good name compared. But they should be run out of town. The black people there should run them out of town because they covered all this up. The deputies, the chief of police, the city officials, they all black, so they call themselves black. They are covering all this up. Those are the people that was in charge. And so that's what happened in Mississippi. We now know that this young brother was murdered. I just heard this morning, I heard a mother and a father talking in Birmingham, Alabama. There was a young black man that was lynched. Actually, the mother was describing the scene and the situation that their son had been lynched. And the city officials, the authorities, like they always do, give him the runaround, wouldn't let him see the body. Uh, and the first thing they said to them that his son has committed suicide. Now, what needs to happen is in these cases, in these situations, black people, the community, needs to pull together and put pressure on those individuals and demand you're going to have to get an outside autopsy like they did in Mississippi, get an outside autopsy, get an investigator, and get you a good lawyer to actually find out what happened. Because if you depend on those local authorities, black or white, it doesn't make any difference. They're going to all lie and they're going to cover up whatever has happened. That's the real deal. So I'm saying to the family in Birmingham, Alabama, number one, you're going to have to get you a outside independent autopsy on your son to see actually what happened. And number two, get you a good lawyer, someone in the state there, should be some good lawyers in Birmingham, and an investigator to investigate into what happened. Because if you just leave it up to the local authorities, they're going to lie and they're going to cover it up and they're going to try to convince you that your child or your son committed suicide. That's what they're going to try to convince you, the local authority. And most times, they'll use these Uncle Tom, they'll use these spooks, they'll use these jigaboos to talk to the parents, especially if they're black. And in so many of these situations we see happening, the local authorities are Negroes. That's who the local authorities is. In so many of these situations, it could be the sheriff, it could be the deputy, it could be city officials, it could be the coroner. Oftentimes, these Uncle Toms, these jigaboos, these spooks are the ones that are put there by their slave master to kind of oversee everything that goes on in that town, in that location. See, this is what we see happening. The other thing is too, um, we know that I think the count now in Houston, Texas, for the black bodies has been found like 13. It could be more. We'll try to give you an update on that, but we do know it's 13 bodies. And let me say this too. I heard Joy Reid saying this morning on her podcast. She was talking about and this is something we need to understand clearly as black folks. We need to understand this. When you see the National Guard going in those areas where they're going in, it's not because of crime. Because she was saying the National Guard uh, don't have the authority to do certain things in those areas, and also a lot of that is left up to the local police in those communities, in those areas. But what this dictator has done in the White House is put the National Guard in their way where they can oppress and harass the people. That's the main reason they're there, and to go after the immigrants. See, that's their main reason. But in the meantime, they also can harass and do all kind of harmful things to black people in those communities when they go in there. It ain't, and we found out in Chicago, South Shore Drive, they went in. Not only did they harass and arrested some Hispanic people, they also arrested some black people. See, rounded up some black people and arrested them. South Shore Drive in Chicago. This is what they've been doing. Oftentimes, we don't hear about this on the news because the focus is on the immigrants and focus is on the Hispanic people. But if there's black people staying in those areas, located in those cities, when they go in, say they go in an apartment complex, they go in and arrest the black people right along with the Hispanic people. They don't care. See, this is what they're doing. I'm talking about the National Guard and these ISIS people. And how do we know that these ISIS people are not but the white supremacist Klan members in dressed up in those uniformed outfits they have on? How do we know they're not? See, if you go on believing everything that the mass media tells you and just confine it to believing anything, they lie about their own mama. See, so I don't know why you put so much faith and confidence in them, because they lie all the time. Not sometimes, they lie all the time. See, and this is what is happening. So I just think that this is a time to we need to not be afraid. We need to stand up and borrowing Karen Hunter's phrase is um, we need to stay alive, and stay focused. You know, her phrase is "stay ready." Karen Hunter. I'm using that because that's what she used. I saw one of her T-shirts on. Stay ready. We need to stay ready. We need to stand up, and we need to not be afraid, and we need to fight back. My last thing I want to say to this director of the FBI, I think he's from India. You got a lot of nerve trying to tell us black people in the black community who to celebrate and who to commemorate, and all this stuff that you've been saying about our sister Sada Shakur. We so thankful to Allah that the Cuban people and Fidel Castro allowed her to stay her life out in Cuba, and also she was able to die there in peace without being dragged back here and humiliated. And let me tell you something, y'all. It was Obama who put that 2 million bounty on her when he was in office. See, that's where they came from. They had a $2 million bounty they put on her to snatch her up and bring her back, try to bring her back to America. That's who put the bounty out. It wasn't nobody else. It was Obama. We had Gary Hoover, who was over the FBI back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. They had a program called Counterintelligence that was to target black individuals, black activists, and black organizations. It was called the Counterintelligence. Nothing was set up to murder off the black activists, to murder off the black organizations, black leadership during that particular time. And that was sponsored by the FBI. So this FBI person that's in charge now, like I say, you from India for another country, you don't have a clue about the struggle and the fight against injustice and liberation in this country where black people had to go through. See, so you need to stop running your mouth and stop speculating and speaking and talking about things you have no knowledge about. And even if you do speak and talk about them, you're still a liar. See, you still don't know what you're talking about. And for us, for you to try to tell us you don't like the fact that people are posting so many good things and saluting and celebrating Asada Shakur's life, that's all you're mad about. See, that's all it's in. And we encourage the people to continue to post and put up pictures and put up things that you want to say about our sister. Because not only was she a freedom fighter, but she also was a member of the Black Panther Party, also a member of the Black Liberation Army. She did so many other things, all the programs that the party had, you know. So once again, we communicate to educate and organize. Truth is the wealth of freedom. Once again, we communicate to educate and organize. And we may come back today sometime and drop another video because there's so much stuff going on. But inshallah, we hope that we have left something here for you that you can dissect. You know, on this video, we pray to Allah that we have left something on this video that you can dissect.